Hey everyone, David Beebe here and welcome back to my guitar channel and to another lick lesson. If you've been watching the channel and you've seen the last couple of videos, you'll have noticed a bit of a theme on improvised versus composed guitar solos, and today's lick is taken from one of those improvised solos. The reason I've chosen this particular lick is that it contains ideas I don't habitually use in my day-to-day legato line playing, and a couple of you did message and request that I break this particular one down, so here it is. Now, it's not easy, it's pretty tricky, but like I say, it contains some meaty stuff that if you get into it and you work on it right, it will push forward your general legato playing too. So we're in C minor, that's the key and vibe of the original track, and the lick itself is a triplet idea again, but the arrangement of notes is different and it's something I don't particularly use. So it's doing what I refer to as like a 2-1-2-1 idea. And to make matters worse and even trickier, it's introducing a string skipped hybrid picking element. So let me just break this, the general idea of what this is about. Usually when I'm playing legato lines, I do a lot of 3-1-3-1 ideas. That means that I might play a line like this, playing 3 notes on one string, and then 1 note on the next string, and then 3 notes on the next string. Now, you can also do a 2-1-2-1 idea. So let me show you in broad strokes what this means. I'm basically putting 2 notes on the low E string, and then I'm string skipping to the D and hybrid picking that. Then I'm coming back to the A string and doing 2 notes. Then I'm string skipping and hybrid picking a note on the G string. And I'm coming back to the D and playing 2 notes on that string. And then I'm string skipping and hybrid picking up to the B string. Coming back to the G, doing 2 notes, string skipping and hybrid picking up to the high E string. So we're kind of taking this idea sequence through the entire string set. So slowly it would be like this. Now, to make matters worse and to make this much more difficult, the rhythm, the subdivision here is we're having to feel triplets whilst putting 2 notes on one string and 1 note on the next string. And that's what makes it challenging. So let's break it down in detail and I'll show you exactly how to play it and give you some tips and pointers on how you can work on this kind of a lick more generally. So starting on the low E string with the middle finger, we're going to play this B flat note. This is the flat 7 of C Dorian. We're going to think of this as C Dorian. Now, I'm going to give you just the fret numbers for this in my speaking as I explain it, but of course you can think in intervals if you want, or note names, and the full tab and transcription is available in the description, so check that out if you want to follow along with the tab. We're starting on E6, this is the fret number I'm referring to in string, so E6, and then before I even play that note, I'm going to prepare and plant my middle finger on the D string because that's the next note that we strike. So we're going to strike the first note with the pick, hammer on to the root, to E8 with my pinky finger, and then this middle finger is already prepared and resting on the D string for me to then hybrid pick it. So skip the string and then a hybrid pick D5. So I get. The thing you've got to really pay attention to here is that this first note you pick is not the downbeat, it's coming just before the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, because these are 16th note triplets. Now we come back to the A string with the middle finger, and then we repeat that kind of idea, we're sequencing this motif basically. So I've now got A6, and then I've skipped up and jumped my middle finger to the G string, so it's now prepared for the G string hybrid pick note. I pick A6, hammer with my pinky to A8, and then hybrid pick the G string on fret 5. So I get. And my middle finger is already hopped down in advance, preparing to play this note on the B string here. Now, the next grouping of notes is where we have our first little odd, awkward position shift, and we have to think about this. I find I have to concentrate on this, otherwise I can't get the timing right. So let's just recap what we've got. We've got on the low E string, and then we're doing it on the A string. Now the next note we're going to have to play is a D7, and it's going to be with our second finger. So we have this bit of a shift here. So this means that we have to come off the previous note on G5, really consciously lift it up in advance so we can shift over in time. And I'm kind of doing that stretch. So as I play this note on D7, I'm not holding down the index finger on G5. If you do that, it's not going to work. The timing will break. These kind of triplet ideas where you're playing even groups of notes on the strings are really difficult if you keep these fingers anchored down. You really break the timing. So you can see there, as I play that note on the D7, my index finger is not holding down the note on G5. If I do it slower, and I've kind of done that stretch and position shift. I'm then hammering on with my third finger onto D8, so I get, and then the index finger comes down to B6. And that's, as I say, that right hand middle finger should already be prepared on that string. So putting that together, so far we have. We then take this down onto the G string, so then we're doing fret 7 on the G string, hammering onto fret 8 on the G string, and we should have already by now prepared in advance on the high E string with the middle finger on the right hand to hybrid pick that note on the high E6 fret. So we have. So if we put all that together so far across the string sets with this motif, we get. So that's the first half of the lick, but the difficult stuff isn't over, I'm afraid. This next part is probably the most tricky bit of all, and certainly the thing that kicked my ass as I was transcribing and trying to execute it. For some reason, I improvised this in the tape with no problems, but as I tried to then replicate it for the lesson, it took me a few goes. So yeah, it's an interesting quirk of how this all works. So after we've done that last grouping, we're going on to B8 with the middle finger, and hammering onto B10 with the little finger. And then we're not string skipping anymore, but we are still doing the 2-1 and the hybrid picked idea. So the index finger is coming into high E8. So we get. Now this is incredibly tricky. This kicked my ass for some time, and it actually, the only way I figured this out as to why I was struggling with this was because I just started watching the monitor screen. I got a little bit inside my own head looking at my hand, wondering why isn't it happening. And sometimes this is a really good idea if you're struggling with a technique or something's not working, is just to try and relax and maybe just look off the fretboard, try and do it without overthinking. And this is another subject I'm going to talk a bit about on the channel actually, is about filming yourself and how this can help you with your development. And as I was watching myself on the monitor screen, I noticed a couple of things I was doing wrong. And in particular, I wasn't shifting this index finger fast enough. So as I played the last grouping of notes, it was getting stuck on this note, and I was kind of holding this down, getting stuck there, stretching over, and as I played this note, this finger's still pretty much attached to that note here. And then that means I wasn't able to shift it in like the concertina compression to get into that note. So it's kind of going like this. You also get some overbleed there as well, which isn't good for the sound. And the main problem is it massively breaks the timing and gets lumpy and late. So what it should be is plenty prepared in advance with this left hand not anchoring down those fingers. So as I noticed on the video screen, it should be like this. You notice that? I'm already making the compression in, pretty much as I do the little finger hammer on to B10. So I've taken it off. So I've taken off the index finger from this note, the E6, as I play B8. And then as I hammer onto B10, I've compressed in. That massively helped improve my timing of this part. So just for some context, if I play that together, and with everything that's come before. So let me just put that to a drum beat. It's a little bit slower than the original for you to follow along. I'll do it at full speed and then I'll halve it. So the rest of the lick is back in more familiar territory, at least for me. But before we go on to that, what I want to do is just show you the timing and where the downbeats fall on which fingers, so you've got something to anchor onto, metaphorically speaking. We don't anchor the fingers, in order to help with the timing of this. So going back to the start, I'm going to get 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So this D8 here with the third finger is going to be the next one, the next downbeat. So the first downbeat is the pinky finger. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So this is where you feel the next down on this finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And then we've got this pinky finger on the B10 here. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So you could practice this to start with by just doing each group of 3 notes on its own. So it would be 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and feel that 4 a little bit. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then add in the next. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So stopping on the 1, the next downbeat. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Add in the next lot. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're really feeling these in groups of 3 is a bit slower. And then the final lot. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So by slowly building that up and really concentrating on the downbeats and which finger they fall on, it's going to massively help you control this timing as you increase the tempo. And make sure that you're not anchoring down any fingers onto the fretboard here. You want to try to aim for individual finger, like button pushes almost. It really helps articulate the subdivision. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Oh, and quickly before we go on, this is all just with a down pick, a hammer, and then a hybrid. Everything that we've done up to this point. So we've got down, hammer, hybrid, down, hammer, hybrid, down, hammer, hybrid, down, hammer, hybrid, down, hammer, hybrid. So I'm going to pick this up from my pinky finger on the downbeat where I've hammered on. So it's going to be 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's look at these notes. So I've got pinky finger on B10. This is the concertina, the compression in high E8. Then I hammer on to E10, E11, pull off to E10, pull back off to E8. And so we've got... The next grouping is a little tricky because there's some 4 finger per string chromaticism, but we've got this back and forth between the B and E string to start with. So we have B11, then we hybrid pick in it to the high E8, back to B11, and then we come down chromatically like that. Okay, the next grouping of 6 notes we've got goes B10, hammer to B11, and then we've got the hybrid string on the E8, and we're coming back to B10, pulling off to B8, and then G10. So putting that together with the previous lot, we've got, and putting it together with from this half of the lick. And finally, the last 6 notes, we've got this hybrid picked B8, coming down to G10, pulling off to G8, and we've got D10, hybrid picked up to G7, coming middle finger onto D8, and we finish off by hammering onto the root, the C note on D10. Okay, so I'll put all that together from this half of the lick. And do it with that drum beat. Now, I'm not going to show you the intricate details for the hybrid picking in the down and the ups in the video, just to make this not go on too long. But if you want that, then they're notated in the PDF transcription. Okay, so let's put that all together with the first and second half of the lick, nice and slowly with no backing, and then I'll do it to the drum beat. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And with the drum beat at half time. And that's the lick. It's not an easy one. It is a bit of a roast. It's been a roast for me actually as well, after I'd improvised it fine and then trying to learn it to teach it. It's been quite tricky. It's funny how that happens. But it's been a bit of a window into some of the things I perhaps need to work on. This is more of, I guess, an Alan Hines type thing, maybe a Brett Garsted thing, this kind of 2-1 idea. So I'm definitely going to try and explore a bit more of that in my playing now after this idea kind of stumbled out. So let me know what you think, how you get on with it. If you've got any questions, do drop them in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you give it a go, tag me on social media if you're playing it. I'd love to see that. Do go super slow with it. As always, it's much better to be slow and controlled, taking all the technical things into consideration and having a good feel and good execution and good timing than just trying to blaze through as fast as you can. I think it's much more impressive to do it slow and controlled than fast and sloppy. Anyway, that's it for this lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, then maybe hit like and consider subscribing and hitting that bell to be notified of these new videos. I'm doing a bit of an experiment here on YouTube, as you can probably tell if you've been watching, and there's different videos and different kinds of subjects. There's plenty more to come. I'm really enjoying this and really enjoying the feedback too. So yeah, let's see what happens over the next few months. Be more lick lessons for sure, and a whole variety of different topics. If you want to support me, then you could check out my app, Solo. This is an app I developed with Tom Quayle for fretboard visualization and your changes playing. That's available on the iOS store, the App Store, and the Google Play Store. You can get lessons and courses, tutorials from me from my website at davidbb.com. And I co-host the Guitar Hour podcast, which is a cool guitar show that I host with Tom, Dan Smith, and Jake Wilson. And yeah, we do that every week, and it's a bit of a nerd deep dive into all these kinds of things. Technically, theoretically, guitar life, everything, you can name it. We have a good old banter about that on a weekly basis. So again, links are in the description. And until the next video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. LOIS. LOIS.